And sometimes we need multiple whys. So sometimes it's not just one. There's several things. Like for me, it was a what hurts you and a what helps you. What would help you to stay consistent and committed to this one thing?
Right.
And I had that written down all over the place, which I'll talk about lastly. Secondarily, it was what would hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If this didn't happen, this would hurt. This would pain me. Right? And it changes, by the way. So let me say these last two things and interrupt me anywhere you want. One, because your why is the right why today, which it could be, it could drive you for the next 90 days and you're kicking butt. You're like, I'm on it. I'm getting it done. Does not mean that you won't have to revisit that why in 90 more days.
Okay.
And because your why's change.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you knock that out, that might not be the why that keeps you consistent with your next win. That's your next level that's necessary.
Right. Because something pushed you to get there.
Yep.
But now that I'm here, maybe I'm comfortable.
Yep.
I did it.
Yep.
So now you have to have another why to get you to the next.
That's exactly.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Hey, welcome to the Self-Talk Experience. We are back. Tracy Self, Darnell Self. Babe.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about today?
Developing your why.
Developing your why.
Yep.
Okay.
Developing your why. Your WHY. Right?
What
And
hurts you or what helps you?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Acronym?
Yep. And we've talked about this before when we talked about how to stay motivated, how to stay committed to your goal. But I feel like a lot of people haven't developed their true why because they wake up and they're not really running as hard as they could towards the goal that they say they want to hit. And I feel like perhaps they haven't tapped into their real why or developed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you, maybe some tips on how to do that?
Yep. Just quick tips. That's it. And I think, one of the things that's important is never going to be your first response.
What do you mean by that?
So if someone says, hey, so tell me what motivates you. Like, tell me why you're building this business. Tell me why you want to quit your job. Tell me why you want, So typically you say, I want to be able to travel the world.
Or I want to do more for my family.
Right.
Or I want a better car.
Right. Exactly.
That's the immediate answer.
Right. Yeah. Or they could say, I want autonomy. I don't want my boss telling me what I have to do and when I have to do it and for how long I have to do it and when I could take vacations. Right. So people say different things when you talk about, what's your goal in life? What is it that you want to achieve in life? And
so you're saying that is like a surface answer.
That's correct. And they don't know it. I'm not saying that being insensitive.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
It's always something deeper.
It always.
Okay.
And there's, a lot of books talk about it in different ways. Some talk about how you have to ask 7 times. 7? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Before you get to the root.
Before you really get to the root?
Yeah.
If somebody asks me 5 times, I'm done. I'm like,
you think so?
That's my answer. Yeah.
You want to try it?
No. I think 7 times?
Yeah. So what happens after a few times, people have to think. Watch. I'm not gonna go all 7, but let me ask you this. So you became a Zumba instructor after being a stay-at-home mom for 15 plus years.
Okay.
You decide I'm gonna be a Zumba instructor, right?
Did.
Why did you want to be a Zumba instructor?
I thought that it would be fun and I wanted to get in shape.
Why did you want to get in shape?
Well, because I want to look my best and feel my best because I was getting older. I'm getting older. And I thought that it would be better for my health. And I wanted to be an example for my children.
Yeah. Why do you think being an example for your children is important?
Well, because I want them to be able to look up to me and be proud of me and want to aspire to be better. So whatever it is, even if it wasn't Zumba, I want them to aspire to be better at whatever they want to do or whatever their goals are.
Why do you think your kids wanting to be proud of you is important to you?
Because I'm proud of them. And I've watched them, and I'm so proud of all that they've accomplished. And I want them to look at me and be proud of what I've accomplished as well.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah. See, so after about this is my point. You don't have to even answer it. But after about 4 or 5 times, then you can't answer fast. Now you have to say, I don't know. I mean, I want them to feel like their mom is deserving of being proud. I don't know what it is. So my point is, at some point, it happens to all of us. Right. You can't do it fast. At some point, you're like, and it causes you to think, and you're like, whatever comes next.
Right. But then also you feel put on the spot sometimes, and you just kind of like rush it, right? I know.
That's what I'm saying. For the first few times, most people would do that. In the first few times, you're just answering because you're like, oh, because of this, and you're thinking whatever's top of mind, right, comes out. But after a while, you start to really think because you're forced to. See, so it's peeling that onion back a little bit. So, and again, I don't know if 7 is the right number. This is just, certain authors have said around 7. Mm-hmm. And I found it to be helpful to ask folks more than once. Mm-hmm. And certainly more than 3 times. And I would ask that you get with your friends, your siblings, your children, your parents. And if they have goals, and that's going to require some commitment, some discipline, some consistency, then it's good to figure out the why. Otherwise, people find themselves being inconsistent, not as disciplined, and certainly not as committed. Commitment, the thing you say you're going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you. It's easy to say it when you're in the mood. Like we went to a bodybuilding contest yesterday, and you turned to me, you're like, hey, you should do that. I'm like, I mean, maybe. In the mood, in the moment, you're like, okay. But then it gets down to it, and you got to have a pack of tuna at the movie theater instead of popcorn.
I know, but then right after that, we went to lunch.
Right, already, it's out the door.
No, immediately after, and I'm like, so you want some bread?
So my point is, but if you had a why driving you for that, we're kind of joking with that, but not, right? Because if we had identified a why sitting there saying, all right, you want to do this? You want to do bodybuilding? And identified a why we wanted to do it. We had to ask those questions of each other until they really got down to about 6 or 7 times. I feel like we would have just answered.
Right. But
I want to be in better shape.
But also sometimes it could go the other way too. You ask all those questions and you realize, I don't think that's my why after all.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because you can't answer. You get to a point where you're like, well, okay, so my kids really aren't my why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very true. Very true. What also is a telltale sign with that when you're developing your why is if let's just say you say, hey, I'm going to start waking up a little earlier because I'm not getting enough done throughout my day. Right? I've got other things that are tying me up. And so I've got to get up a half an hour earlier to still fit all this stuff in. And here's the reason why I'm going to do it. And you still don't do it. That may also be a telltale sign that why is actually not strong enough.
Right. Because you're still not getting it done.
You're still not getting it done. Mm-hmm. Right. So sometimes and sometimes we need multiple whys. So sometimes it's not just one. There's several things. Like for me, it was a what hurts you and a what helps you. What would help you to stay consistent and committed to this one thing? Right. And I had that written down all over the place, which I'll talk about lastly. Secondarily, it was what would hurt me. Mm-hmm. Right. If this didn't happen, this would hurt. This would pain me. Right. And it changes, by the way. So let me say these last 2 things and interrupt me anywhere you want. One, because your why is the right why today, which it could be, it could drive you for the next 90 days and you're kicking butt. You're like, I'm on it. I'm getting it done. Does not mean that you won't have to revisit that why in 90 more days.
Okay.
And because your why's change. Because once you knock that out, that might not be the why that keeps you consistent with your next win. That's your next level that's necessary.
Right. Because something pushed you to get there.
Yeah.
But now that I'm here, maybe I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
So now you have to have another why to get you to the next.
That's exactly. Or what happens with a lot of people, they start losing momentum because it's happened. They feel like it's just going to keep going. Right. And they needed another why to keep it going. There's one why to get it started and another why to keep it going.
Yeah.
Right. And then lastly, making sure it's all around you. So saying the why is one thing, putting it all around you, at least having someone that's going to hold you accountable for it and remind you of it. Or for me, I had it, as you know, posted all around the house.
Right.
So that way I was reminded. I was reminded when I went in the refrigerator. I was reminded when I, went in the pantry. I was reminded when I brushed my teeth. And so, because it's so easy to lose focus, especially with all the stimuli, all the things coming our way now and social media, all these different things, it's so critical to have your mind focus on what it is you said you wanted to do and make sure that that was a priority. And other things take priority in our life. We didn't even plan to be a priority.
Right. But it could be, like you said, a lot. It doesn't have to necessarily be written down and put places. It could be a song that you listen to every morning at 7 a.m. The words of that song, that's what gets you going.
Yep.
That's what motivates you. Or even maybe somebody recorded a message for you and you listen to that message every day.
Yep. Especially if that message is a part of your why.
Exactly.
Yep.
So those are motivators too.
Yep.
To help you with your why.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're talking about developing your why, guys, and revisit it. We talked about this, something similar on a previous episode, but it's going to be key for you to revisit the things that you feel will help to keep you motivated and consistent and committed to the things you say you want. I know it's certainly been helpful for us and the people that we worked with. And also don't forget, it may be multiple things you need to really hold you accountable for the things you say you want in life. Listen, we pray that these episodes are helping you to say different things to yourself or even better things to yourself. Remember, the things you say to yourself about yourself eventually determines what you have for yourself. You about to say something?
No, I was going to let you close out this time. But what I would say, if I wasn't going to let you close out this time, I would say it's absolutely impossible not to achieve your goals and know your why if you watch the self-talk.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.
If you've ever started something and said to yourself, I'm not quitting until I reach the finish line, there's a perfect podcast for you. The We Won't Quit podcast by my man, Mike Humes, mailman and millionaire, never gave up. Not only did he have success, but he's helped a ton of other people do the same thing. He's going to be interviewing people who never stopped until they finish. So check it out. We Won't Quit podcast.